Man, survive and kill the killers of Area 51 was the bomb back then. The game was created in 2014 by Homer Mafia 1, and it still exists as a game that is just a masterpiece, let's call it. So let's revisit this masterpiece and talk about it, and uncover the secrets that Area 51 holds. The story of Area 51 is simple, but we must first enter the horror that is Area 51. And to do that, you must simply fall down this hole. Well, maybe I should have thought secondly about jumping into that hole, but, you know, there's no coming back up now. We gotta go. There it is. Here we are. Now that we are in Area 51, we can't get out. But let's talk about the story, because there is a story in Area 51. The story to survive and kill the killers in Area 51 is to survive and kill the killers in Area 51. Yeah, that's basically it. Okay, I am joking. There's more in the form of notes and even some actual lore. Notes are revealed throughout the game, and they are scattered all over the map, but they reveal what happened during and before the fallout of what occurs in Area 51. We know that the robots that we see in the game are new, or relatively new, and that they went rogue, as it's said by an engineer's notes of the experience. Additionally, we know that the rejects room seen in the robot manufacturing section, we know that that is for robots that were dysfunctional or did not work with their intended purpose, but were very much alive during the isolation or quarantine of being in that room. The reject room is also the place where we find the Tails doll, which is a killer in this game, which at least gives us an origin and a story of the doll, with it being a reject and eventually breaking out and being part of the robot invasion, later detailed in the notes. The engineer of these notes, or whoever wrote these notes, is found dead inside the offices room in the robotics area. We also know why certain other things exist, such as the atomic bomb. Why is it here? Well, it's because it's a secret weapon to kill the grand zombie in sewers, which can be killed with a gunshot, or alternatively, it's more likely to be used as a weapon against a boss character in the game. But regardless, they somehow snuck a huge atomic bomb down there and kept it relatively hidden from view. The note that we find here is important in our checklist of items that we need to find, signifying that it could be some items of interest for the military we see above, who currently control the massive hole that is Area 51. Another thing, and talking about the military that we see above, is the military and the outpost itself. The outpost for Area 51 is actually very tiny. You can run around the whole base in about a couple of minutes, basically maybe 2 minutes, and compared to the real life Area 51, which is a 6x10 mile base, this is literally not even that in comparison. It's also not explained why there is just a big asshole in the middle of nowhere with no safety precautions. Like, what if someone just walks in, falls in? Or what if just someone finds it in the middle of nowhere? You know, is this just a prison? Is this a lab? I mean, it looks like a lab, but there's so many questions. And what's more is that these aren't answered, but also that there's just more, such as we also know that there is an alien in this game, and it's housed and eventually grew up in Area 51 as a secret project back in 1945. When does this game take place? We know why the alien and the UFO is in one of the rooms at least exists, but we also know of many poor souls that just got caught up in this mess and stuck down there, as well as why or how the teleporter actually exists. Yeah, no, there is a teleporter, an alien, a UFO, several creepypasta killers, a nuclear bomb, all in one facility. It says a lot about what's really hidden down there in Area 51, doesn't it? Anyway, gameplay-wise, the story has no impact on what the game is about. Some notes are useful to explain how to counter the monsters, mainly the survival logs found, but that's really it. The lore is pretty bare bones and fragmented, considering that the notes only account for the killers that aren't directly linked to something like a creepypasta or film, with the exception of Tails doll, which we'll get into a little later. Whereas those characters that are typically referenced are totally made up, and the rest of the characters, such as the film and creepypasta characters, are left up in the air as to how or why they're in the facility. And talking about the facility, I know you guys may have heard that I said the robotics area. Yeah, there's a robotics area. This place is huge. So I just want to clarify any confusion when I say rooms or halls. Survive and Kill the Killers in Area 51 has the original map that I think many people are familiar with, but this map has been gradually enlarged and made even larger with a sewage system, a robot lab, a robotics area, a secret room, jail cells next to a vault for some reason, another big hallway, and other expansions that just make Area 51 a labyrinth to be in. And honestly, I think it works. I honestly really enjoy it. The old map is still there with just some more on top to explore and discover, with things moved and even secret hallways littering the whole place, making traversing Area 51 a lot easier. It's a breath of fresh air to explore and find new killers all around the facility, and finding notes that add some lore. For the footage, I played about 50 to 1 hour of this game, which might not be much, but when it comes to Roblox games, that's saying a lot considering the audience that this is made for. But for this though, the game's map is great, and I think it makes for good for some liminal space in certain areas. With the map is also really good for the killers, and, well, talking about the killers. Is it gone? I think he is. Alright, let's continue. Let's talk about them. There's a wide selection of killers to choose from in battle, or at least kill, with there being a total of 28, including bosses. With non-current boss killers, there's around 25. The killers are varied. Some have aged relatively well, and then there's others that have aged really poorly. There are 7 killers that are based on creepypastas. Additionally, with these 7 killers that are based on creepypastas, there's about 7 killers based on films and 2 based on folktales, and some others that are made for this game specifically. Most of these killers are both from popular films and creepypastas, which adds to why this game was so popular. It uses horror icons that older people might get, such as film killers, as well as creepypasta icons that kids will also know. This adds a broad range of people who might just go, hey, I know that killer! It's that one from insert media here. This sense of recognizability is what makes this game pretty easy to be successful. And this game was pretty successful. As mentioned previously, the success of this game has been monumental. For a Roblox game that was created in 2014, it has 1.4 billion visits. That is about the same population as the population of India, which is pretty crazy. The game had this success due to the timing as well as the familiarity that many kids and younger adults had for these characters. The usage of popular characters mixed with the basic premise of just ending them and exploring Area 51 definitely led to its success as a Roblox game. It's also the constant updates it's received, with it still being updated to this day. The last update as of recording was around March, which it's been 2 months, but it's still pretty recent. Timing also was a massive contributor as creepypastas are blowing up, as many kids were curious to know what these creepypastas were, with this being a place for them to get a basic grip on them or see. It was also made before that god-awful Slenderman movie, which just ruins everything Slenderman related. Man, I hate that movie. Another thing is just the different ways to play the game. There's modes like Survival Classic, Killer Mode, Juggernaut Mode, Endless Survival, Boss Rush, and more. The game has so many modes that you can choose from that if you get tired of one, you can just play another, extending the playtime for people and hence keeping people interested and in effect keeping the game alive. However, for every masterpiece, there are a billion other impersonations trying to make it big, and this game is sadly no different. Simply typing up Area 51 on the Roblox search tab will yield a bunch of games that tried copying it with various qualities. There are such gems such as Sunderman in Area 51, Survive the Seek in Area 51, hey, is that a Doors reference? And the scariest of all, Survive Michael Jackson in Area 51, Killers. Many of these copies actually have had a lot of visits, but haven't reached the level of success that the original had. And I think it's mainly because they focused on one specific monster or killer instead of focusing on many of them. Many of them are also joke games that were made more recently being in 5 years or less, and aren't updated. It's obvious that they are also just made for Robux, so they don't have a lot of effort put into them. With their recentness, it does show the continuing relevancy that the Survive Area 51 genre has, despite its age. And talking about that relevancy, how is Survive and Kill the Killers in Area 51 doing? Today, Survive and Kill the Killers in Area 51 is doing pretty good. Maybe not as good as it used to be, but it's still holding up with a good player count of a couple thousand people playing every day. It is also continuing to have updates, notably the Sector 2 update, which has been teased for a while now. Overall, while some of the killer models look outdated, the game has kept itself afloat, alive, and well over its many years on Roblox, and hopefully it keeps being like that. Returning to this game was always nostalgic to me, as I played this game a lot back then, and coming back now and seeing it alive and having added so much more to the map and to just how you play the game is honestly crazy. I didn't know that it had changed a ton, but I was glad to see that it has changed to be something better and still have fun playing it. Anyways, that's all from me. It's time to get out of here and go far away from Area 51, because the military probably doesn't want me here after I just recorded what was in it. They couldn't stop all of us. I've been Top Hat King, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.